wolfgmcbbuick.ca. Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. wolfgmcbuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, the Oilers can still see the final playoff spot, but give them time. No, just give them a little while. It'll be way far away. Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned and community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We have a very busy show today. We have two guests, Bag Milk, Eric Erlinson, lightninginsider.com, and we have Declan CAA straight ahead. As you know, we are live on YouTube and Sports 1440 Radio. We're all over the online thing. We got that nailed down. iHeartRadio, sports1440.ca, Radio Player Canada. After the show, Apple and Spotify podcasts carry us, and we tweet it out on X. And if that isn't good enough, we'll have Josh drive it over to you on an 8-track. You just have to share it and drive it to the next guy who wants it later on in the afternoon. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, at JFenwick04. You can text or call us 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. I thought the Oilers played better last night. There were actual under-control breakouts, and some led to goals. The team scored 3 5-on-5 goals, but they let in 5. So there you go. Tough night for Stuart Skinner's save percentage. Tough night for Edmonton Oilers fans, but better than the last game. Now they play tonight against Tampa Bay, so hold on to your ass because it might be a little bit difficult. It's tough back-to-back, man. And like Tampa Bay and Washington are not next door. They're not twin cities. So we'll see how they look tonight. Time for the introductions. He loves Dungeons and Dragons, but has never given us an example of the voices he uses during the game. That ends now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Oh, you little creepy man. What kind of voices do you come up with?
I do a bunch. So when I run the game, I had a guy, Boston accent. I can't do it right now because the trigger for me to get into it is not radio appropriate.
That, yeah.
Throw a couple like Scottish or Irish in there.
Right.
Some whatever else I can muster. However, this being said, this is a perfect time to do this because I told someone I would do it at this time.
Yes.
Shout out to Sarah's stepmom. I work with your stepdaughter at the bar. She said that you listen all the time and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy works there. Yeah. So hi. If you come in tomorrow, I'll be there. I'll give you a free dangle.
Just so you know, Sarah's stepmother, we can't believe he works here either.
Yeah. I still wonder how I got here.
All right. He left mid-show yesterday. Won't be here tomorrow. I think he thinks that he's the prime minister already. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Come on down. This is your life. How are you feeling, man? Like, I got to say, I know you're putting up the brave face. Yeah. I totally know that.
Well, I'm a trooper.
But, if anybody gets sick in this room in the next 2 weeks, it's all on you.
Yeah, the thing was, like, I didn't have a cold. I didn't have a flu. It was just one of, and I'm sure people can kind of relate to this. Like, it was one of those days where you just feel off. Like, things almost don't feel real, right? If that makes sense. Like, I was very dizzy. I was very tired. I didn't really have a sense of, like, balance. My equilibrium kind of felt off. It was all very strange.
Maybe you're in your version of the Truman Show.
I've thought about that. I don't think, because here's the thing. Truman was just a regular guy. Like,
so he thought.
Well, right. It turned out he was the most famous man on the planet. I'm too vain, though, to just feel like I'm a normal. Like, Truman didn't expect he was on the Truman Show. I almost expect I'm on the Truman Show. You know what I mean?
That's the kind of self-awareness that we all need. You just nailed yourself.
I also, on top of it all, I went to the dentist this morning, got 2 fillings done. My mouth, it's still a little frozen, but it was frozen for a good 3-4 hours. Yeah. And I was breaking out randomly in lisps. So if I get going on a subject and that happens, I apologize in advance. Okay. But I also want to say my fillings today cost a little over $400.
Right.
I asked the receptionist there, my dentist, Tara, I asked her if I could play with a little song and dance instead.
Yeah, and she said no.
And I've never seen someone look more impressed.
Yeah.
Like normally you get even a polite little chuckle, like, oh, not today. No, none of that. It was just all business. Yeah. I might have never felt more embarrassed at an attempt at a joke either.
Do you want me to bring in my empties? Because I probably got like $400 worth of that.
I mean, if you cut the hair gel budget back for a month and give that money to me, I think I could.
I don't use hair gel.
Well,
I don't know where the hell my hair went. I'm looking on YouTube.
That.
No, I just use shampoo.
Yeah, great lettuce.
And I do shower about 10 minutes before I get in the car. Because why bother doing it sooner? Right?
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
What'd you do with my hair? Where did it go today, Josh?
You know,
I don't
know how much power you think Josh wields with the camera.
This is why Susanna's stepmother is wondering.
Sarah, please be respectful.
Oh no, I didn't mean to say it wrong. I thought it was. I thought I was close. Anyway, well, I think I might have to poof up my hair. Maybe I should put that goop in it.
Got to be.
Maybe got to be glued. Tomorrow I'm going to goop it up and we can figure out if it looks
just me
better.
And you tomorrow, Tide.
What?
He's not going to be here tomorrow.
I thought he was teasing.
No, he's got a doctor's appointment.
I have a doctor's appointment right at noon.
You missed a half day yesterday. What the hell is going on out here?
That's why I was so hesitant to leave yesterday, because I had the doctor's appointment tomorrow. I'm going to try.
Does Gregor know this?
No. I'll tell him today, but I'll also be back for his show.
Get Gregor on the phone.
I'm going to aim to be back for like 1:30, 1:40.
Well, so you'll be able to do your declinations.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, I would like to.
Okay, I would like to have a group chat now, if we could. And it goes like this. I will start. I will tell you what I thought about the Edmonton Oilers last night. And then we could go around the room. We could talk. Is that okay? All right. They did some good things, folks. And I know you're mad at the Edmonton Oilers, and I know that you feel like this team should be way better, and I get all of that. And I know many of you are mad at the coach. You want him to fire it into the sun, and some of you would like the goaltending to go with him, and I understand. But when you're in a downturn like this, and you also are on the middle of just a god-awful road trip, why can't they play the Oakland Seals tonight? It would be so much easier. But no, they got Tampa Bay. And there are some good things, though, and there are some signs. Like, I'm going to tell you something that, and maybe you don't believe in high danger chances, and maybe you don't believe in natural stat trick, but based on the stats that they ran last night, not only did Tomasic score, Frederick had 3 high dangers, so did Mangiapane, and 2 for young Matt Savoy. So those are all really good signs. The Podkolzin with Draisaitl and Mangiapane line were 5-1 shots and 5-3 high danger chances. The Podkolzin with Henrique and Roslovic line was 2-0 shots and 3-0 high danger chances. So, and look, I know they didn't all cash. I get that and I understand. But they scored 3 goals, 5-on-5, allowed 5. The defensive outlets were better. They're not great, but they were better last night. The coverage and the mistakes were absolutely there, and I get it. But I do believe the story of last night's game, if you're honest, not that you're not being honest, but if you really look at the game, I think they needed another save from Stuart Skinner. And I'm not a piler on Stuart Skinner guy. I see everybody out there talking about Jesper Wallstedt today. Oh, my God, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. 926 save percentage in 7 games. You know that Stuart Skinner, when he was a rookie, played 50 games and at a 914 save percentage. That is a more impressive mark than 926 in 7 games. So understand goaltenders are voodoo. And as mad as you are at Stuart Skinner, and as mad as the number of people who are actually in NHL jobs, media jobs, who are coming out of their shoes to take a whack at Stuart Skinner, I don't like that kind of thing. I don't like that. I think it's bullying, and I think it's unseemly. You know, if you want, I'll go on and I'll tell you 4,000 words about kind of goaltender Greg Millen was, and nobody's going to like it. Or John Garrett, and nobody's going to like that either. So if you're a media guy and you're a goalie and you're ripping Stuart Skinner and I hear about it, I'm going to give all of your bad goals against, and everybody has them. Patrick Waugh has one of the worst goals against ever in the history of time. Skinner has not played well. I do believe they're going to trade for a goaltender before they fire Chris Knobloch. But I think both are in the chat, as it were. Okay, who wants to go next?
Well, listen, I'll give my thoughts on this one. I wrote down some notes. I just want to double check them because I want to listen. I don't mean this as a joke. Like, I'm not trying to be funny here, but there were a lot of goals for Washington, so I just want to make sure I got my notes right on all of them. First one, thought it was real bad rebound control by Stuart Skinner. Yep. Yeah, like the first one and the fifth one, we'll get to that later. Bad rebound control. The second one, you screened on that one. Like, I don't know how you assess that one. That's a goal that. I don't know. Listen, he was screened. I guess it went in. The third one, nice little hit by Emerson there. Didn't have any puck control in his own zone. Ends up right on the Capital Skater stick and walks into the low slot there. Or was it the high slot off that one? Whatever it was. I mean, just kind of walked in, snizzed it. Fourth goal, Nurse was pinching, was bad positioning. Bush got dog walked. The fifth one. Now, I don't blame Janmark on this at all. I know it was like a weird bounce and he tried to soccer ball it off his knee. Like it's a weird play, but I was watching that thinking like what is he doing here? And it seemed like in the second he took to turn to his offside to get back on his bike, 3 seconds of the play had already happened. I didn't particularly love the way Eck played it. I thought he committed too late. By the time he committed, it was the easiest pass in the world. You like Stuart Skinner to save that one. I do want to give Stuart some credit here because, yes, he had some nice, when it mattered in the game, he had some nice saves on Duhane and Carlson. Obviously, that was kind of all for naught. But at the time, those felt like two big saves. Like, again, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I wanted to highlight those as well. You made the point about 5-on-5 goals. I knew you would, and I was thinking about that. Like, I'm like, man, when you score 3 5-on-5 goals, mixing a power play goal in there, more often than not, you should be able to win the game. You know what I mean? They obviously weren't able to do that. And then the seventh goal, that last empty netter, was it Wilson on the last empty netter there? I know the game was over. I know he was going to score on the empty net, but Bush just completely stopping skating and just saying like, all right, put it in. Like, I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. Like the game was over. He was going to score, but it still felt like maybe he could catch up and get a stick in there. Like, it's not like Tom Wilson's is a better skater than he gets credit for, but it's not like he's got some crazy wheels. Overall, a little too much irresponsibility, and I want a few more saves. I think that's what it boils down to.
You can't let in they got to within one. You can't let that next goal.
And they kept getting to within one, and then they kept giving up another one.
You can't give that one either. So there you go. All right, young Josh.
First period, absolutely brutal. Brett Kulak has some real issues. He's a -3.
First three goals
against. He's a -3. The Oilers are now 31st in the league in goals against, behind the lowly Vancouver Canucks, who are missing Thatcher Demko. So that's a real problem for them. That being said, I thought they really turned it around in the third. I thought that was the most dominant period of hockey I'd watched the Oilers play all season. So I was impressed with that. It's just like, at some point they just, you got to pull the goalie, and then Wilson gets the 2. But leading up to that, I thought that they were incredible, really, in that entire period. So there's things to look forward to. It's kind of tough that you're on a back-to-back now,
and you're playing Tampa Bay,
and you're
not
going
the
to play
Seals.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And Vasilevsky isn't exactly like and isn't a Calvin Pickard type goalie. So you have your work's not exactly cut out for you tonight either on the offensive end. And I think really at the end of the day, what needs to come down to the Oilers winning more games is defensive prowess or responsibility.
Yeah.
They keep leaving the front of the net open. They're playing out to the wings too much.
Here's they're doing a lot of things really wrong, and somebody is going to get fired or they're going to fix it. But one of the outlets were better. They weren't great, but they did score 3 5-on-5 goals, and some of them were a direct result of organized, controlled outlets. But they're going to have to sit Brett Kulak. He's 0-11 at 5-on-5 in November. I mean,
I think it's worse now.
No, I mean, I'm looking at it.
All right.
I ran the natural stat trick. Maybe I did it wrong.
So I thought it was.
Was he at
I thought he was 0 for 11
-11
going into the Caps
going
game.
into the game?
Okay, you know what? I stopped it at the 16th. So hold on. What's the date today?
Today's the 20th. Also,
Okay.
happy birthday to my sister Abby. She turns 17 today.
Wait a minute.
Happy
You know
birthday,
what?
Abby.
You've got Sarah's stepmom.
Wow.
And now who else did you say hello to?
My
Abby.
sister.
Do you not have
Shout
a
out
phone?
Abby. I do. I said happy birthday to her, but I said happy birthday to my brother on the air when it was his birthday. So I'm saying happy birthday to my sister.
0515 for Brett Kulak.
That is brutal.
Your sister is younger or older than you?
Younger than me. She's in business at U of A.
Wow.
She's in
everybody is
res.
arcing higher than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You and Declan have that in common.
Yeah. So she turned 19 today. I'm going to pick up her gift after the show.
Right.
And
Because
give her
the
a
Lego
big
store
hug.
is just down there.
It's actually not at the Lego store, but it is here in the mall that has it all.
Right.
And just really quickly, I have some stats following the game last night. The Oilers are now last in goals against, last in 5v5 goals against, and last in team save percentage.
That's awful.
But give them time.
Give them
be
time.
worse.
We're 22 games into the season.
Look, they can make this worse.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Here's the thing, and I've said it all week. When you are not outlet passing properly, all you're doing is playing defense. Last night there was a sliver of hope. I'm not going to oversell it. It's not like I expect them to win against Tampa Bay tonight, but at least Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, they are actually looking to make an astute, deft pass that's not 70 feet, and that's a start. But having said that, it's a mess. It could cost Knobloch his job. I have no doubt they're searching for a goaltender, and I would not be surprised if we go through the weekend and Connor Ingram has another good start. I would not be surprised if they look at him. And oh, by the way, Samuel Johnson is in the ECHL, but I've already got really bright people like Speeds asking me whether or not he could come up and do something. I don't know, but if Speeds is asking about it, then it's worth the conversation. All right, 12:16 on the way. We have Declanations is Declan CAA, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah. And you're not here tomorrow.
No, he's not.
So are you going to be here for because at 12:40 we run the Declanations. Is it going to be the Fenwick Nations?
Well, yeah, it certainly can be. I have a doctor's appointment. I'm hoping to be back by 1:30.
Right. Connor, do you know about all this missed time? He's been he's showing up like the Oilers defense. Wow, this guy Kulak in the corner.
He's showing up a little more than the Oilers defense.
All right. I'm just teasing. If you got a doctor's appointment, nothing you can do about that. Bag Milk at 1, Eric Erlinson from Lightning Insider at 12:40, Declan CAA at 1:40, and Rumors next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
For Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned and community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Listen, that last song, didn't it sound like those little video games like Commander Keen or J-Storm when you guys were little kids?
It had a little Mario Party vibe to it for sure.
Right, you know?
Mario Kart. Yep.
Yeah, sure. That.
I never played Mario, but I did play J-Storm and Commander Keen.
I don't know
were
what
playing
either of those
Pong.
Oh, no, I played, but that was when I was young.
Were you here when he said he was playing Stratomatic baseball?
Yeah, I was there
And-
for that.
And
You played it with your
and
dad.
APVA. Yeah. The Johnny Bench card is legend, just so you know. And you would know a lot about Stratomatics. We could play a game. That would be
We should do that live on air tomorrow.
great on air. Oh, man, I'd get clocked. I would need a few practice games to get going again on that.
Here we go. YouTube video. Josh and Lowetide play Stratomatic baseball.
Boy,
That's content.
you could not get nerdier than that. That is the ultimate nerd. Have we seen lines and pairings? I guess we won't, right? Because they would have flown, and they might not even hit the ice here until pregame. But we know that Calvin Pickard is in the lineup, and I wonder if Brett Kulak is. I love Kulak. He's having a tough time. It is time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. We believe you should create your own electricity. Let's build a brighter, sustainable future with GreatCanadianSolar.com. Okay, we're going to assume the same lines and pairings with the caveat that Kulak might be out and the knowledge that Stuart Skinner is at rest, and it'll be Calvin Pickard. Boy, Pickard needs a good game. He really does. The Wild have placed Vladimir Tarasenko on waivers. The Avalanche has called Tristan Nielsen. Victor Hedman is on IR. Nick Paul, now there's a name, has been activated from LTIR. Jake Neighbors is back. This is interesting. Alexander Tessier is on waivers. That's an interesting player. We can talk about that. Anybody here worried about the Toronto Maple Leafs? No? Okay. Want to make sure.
Why would I ever be worried about the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I was talking to my dentist about that this morning, actually, about just how much of a tire fire it is there.
How are you able to talk to her?
Him, and it was after. You know what's actually funny, Josh? I don't know if Josh knows this lore, Lowetide. My dentist won a silent auction.
Oh, I
with
did know
Lowetide
that.
16 years
know
ago.
to be on the show.
He was a
hasn't cashed in
teenager.
yet?
He was a teenage dentist when he won it, and he's about to retire.
He's tried. It's been on us, and
Well,
mostly on Lowetide.
It has
on
not
us.
been mostly on me. I keep reminding you.
I wasn't even there for the auction,
Okay, but you know the
Yeah,
gentleman.
and we're gonna get
I
him
don't.
on. We're gonna get him on.
Okay, but
He's
you
a
say
dentist. He's busy.
that. Look, I
Should've
might
just brought him
retire.
with you today.
Look, they may come. They may walk in and say, "Look at that guy with the weird hair."
We're-
We get him off the air, and that'll be the end of me. And he would never get the authentic Lowetide-isms that he can get live here. When I ask him a question and don't use his correct name, that's gold, Jerry. Just ask Sarah.
Or Sarah's stepmom. Shout out again.
Do we know Sarah's stepmom's name?
I have no idea. She just said my stepmom listens to you every day. And I was like, well, she doesn't listen to me, but I appreciate
Well, you're a big part of the show. I mean, I don't think that people could listen to the show and not hear you. I've tried. They won't let me. Maple Leafs, by the way, are 15th out of 16 in the conference. They're ahead of Buffalo. That's wild. The Oilers are 11th out of 16.
By the
They
way,
have no right. Nobody has a right. If you are a follower of the Oilers and you're trolling Leafs fans, it's a bad scene.
last night, Flames beat the Sabres 6-2. They now have more regulation wins than the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah, we count cups in Edmonton, buddy. We don't
Yeah.
count regulation
And-
wins.
And how many do
5-1.
you guys have since the turn of the
5-1.
century? And how
Oh,
many
wait.
do I have since the turn of the
Wait a
century?
minute. So
We're dead tied.
we're not talking about the 1980s and 1990. That's not
Since the
100
turn of the
years
century,
ago.
since or how many since Deck and I have both been alive? Jack Roslovich's jersey number.
When you look in the history books, it doesn't start in 2000.
We should have them as a co-sponsor now.
Jack Roslovic's jersey number.
Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick and Jack Roslovic's jersey number, which matches the age of our dear
someone
friend,
on the show,
Declan.
No, it could be any of us.
And then next year it'll be Ken Dryden will sponsor with his jersey number. Okay. LT hates to give people what they want. For God's sake, let us rip on Skinner if we want. LT would rather talk about some has-been from the 70s or dish out life lessons from Dr. Dick Richard. That's right, Dr. Dick Richard. I'm a bad man. I'm a bad man. Look, all I've done since 2003 when I started the blog is tell you what I think. And I don't back down because it's my nature not to back down. But I don't walk the streets all day being contrarian unless it's Josh. I tell you what I think. I believe that Stuart Skinner had a great rookie year, not a bad second year. Last year was difficult, but he played well in the playoffs until the end of the Dallas series, didn't play well in the final. This year he's not been good. And I do believe he's ultimately replaceable because if you have a good goaltender who's been good for 3 years in a row, then the chances of him being good for 4 years in a row is very high. Stuart Skinner was good for 1 year in a row, and then he began to erode. And at some point in time, you have to get him some help or you have to replace him. And at $2.6 million, man, I would keep him and I'd get him some help. I think Calvin Pickard is the man out. That's my opinion. We'll see. Savoy is sure lighting it up, Al. Deserves to be on that top line. Ha ha. Randy. I like him. I think he's fine, Randy. I know that when they load up, then Draisaitl, Hyman, and McDavid are brilliant, but that's not a fair comparison. Consider what Savoy is doing on that line compared to what, God forbid, Trent Frederick was, and I like Frederick, not close. And I also think that he's been better than Mangiapane was on that line. Guys, Tarasenko was placed on IR, not waivers. I didn't say that Tarasenko was placed on waivers. I never said that. I said Blues activated Jake Neighbors to place Alexander Tessier on waivers. And then I also said that Tarasenko had been placed on injured reserve by the Wild. Hope we're all clear on that. I mean, I'm reading it from the book. Did you guys ever watch Fawlty Towers? Brilliant show.
I did. I love Fawlty Towers. The Germans, one of the best.
Do you know that I have an autographed copy of that from John Cleese?
I couldn't imagine. What a treat. Now, I also want to say, not to side with the text line, when you said it, you did say waivers.
I need to hear that.
I'll pull the audio in 32 minutes.
I need to hear that I said that Tessier was. You're saying that I said Tarasenko was on waivers.
You did, and I think we all knew what you were talking about because we knew he was placed on IR.
Okay, I need to hear that. You don't have to play it live on the air.
I won't be able to get it until 1 o'clock anyway, but I'll pull it.
I bet Gregor wanted it. You'd get it right away.
It's not possible. Well, I don't know if you remember.
Your voice went up like a lilt. It's not possible.
At 1260, you used to be able to pull from the logger in 5-minute increments. Here, you have to do it in 1 hour only.
Well, that's backwards.
It's a way slower system this way. It's way slower, but it is what it is. So that's why I'll have to wait. But not to throw you under the bus or anything.
Oh no, but if you said I do believe you, but I really want because my brain said I didn't say it.
I've been there.
We talked about the Raptors yesterday when you took some unnecessary time off, Declan. I mean, he just left. He waved by like he was Nancy Sinatra, and these boots are made for walking.
I do want to say I would have stayed.
Connor and I sort of forced him to leave. I texted Connor. I sort of tattled on Declan. I was like, Declan's sick. He might not stay for the whole show. And Connor said, tell him to go home. We'll get Sam to fill in. And I said, okay. And I told him to leave.
Do you know, in the early times that Declan and I worked together, I actually had to kind of force him to leave the building because something had happened in his life that was very upsetting. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to stay and he was a mess. So I had to tell him to go.
Well, I was kind of joking with Josh. Like, I really do kind of approach it from a boomer mindset. Like, you can't miss any days of work. You got to show up all the time, no matter what. Like, I don't think I've taken any vacation time in the last 2.5 years longer than 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean?
I don't like vacations.
Pro move,
real pro, consummate pro. But
I don't have a vacation plan until next November.
And that's, I mean, you're assuming you're still working.
I'm assuming I'm still working here. Then
to me, that's
when my next vacation is.
That's the most hopeful thing I've heard today. You know, like that's a hope springs eternal.
Well, you know what? The most hopeful thing that I've seen in the last 24 hours is the Calgary Flames scored 6 goals. That feels pretty good.
Triple C in a truck. Unfortunately, LT, you did say waivers. Well, sometimes I'm wrong. Once in the 80s, and then a few weeks ago, and now. So that's 3. And look how gracious I'm being when I'm incorrect. We're going to talk NCAA later. Do we want to talk at all about the NFL Thursday nighter?
Your team deck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he says it's their team, his team, but kind of isn't happy with them ever.
No, I was thinking about this a lot. And I was thinking, you know what I was actually thinking?
I don't know.
Right now, when I look at the lay of the land, it seems to me that whoever wins the NFC is going to be my top pick. Like, they're going to be in the strongest contention to win the Super Bowl. I look at what the Rams are doing and how well they're playing, and I think that is a team that is playing, like Matt Stafford is playing like an MVP. They're beating everybody. I know they lost to the Eagles. The Eagles are another team in the conversation.
Eagles are not in the same boat as the Rams.
I know you're not happy with them, but I mean, they're winning games. Like, that's what. They beat the Rams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but they suck and blow.
Well, my point being is that when I look at the AFC, I still think my pick to get out of the AFC right now would be the Bills, even though they've had some less than desirable games and less than desirable results this year. But overall, like the AFC, I just don't know. Like, do I trust Bo Nix or Daniel Jones in a playoff game? Not really. Do I think New England is more of a product of their schedule, even though I think Drake May is playing great? I absolutely do. Do I have faith in Kansas City right now? Not really. Do I have faith in Baltimore the way they're playing with Lamar back? Yeah, a little bit more so. Do I have faith in Buffalo? Probably the most, but like, I don't know. This game, the Texans have been playing a little bit better. The Bills are a 500 team on the road. They're 5-1 at home. I would like to see a dominant win here against a fringe playoff bubble contender, if you even want to call the Texans that. But I think the Bills need to go out there and they need to win this game convincingly. For me, and I don't know about you guys, but for me to believe they're still they are the top contender in the AFC.
Do you when we talk about this, when they lost last year in the playoffs, you were devastated. You were very down on the team. And that happens, when you cheer for a team, it's difficult when you have a big loss. But you built back, brick by brick. But aren't you encouraged by how well Allen is playing? Like, if I were you, I'd be like, man, all they have to do is not screw it up and Allen's going to win them the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, he's one of the best players in the NFL. He's the reigning MVP. So whenever you have that on your team or in your back pocket, if you want to call it, that gives you some peace of mind. But he's been Josh Allen in the playoffs 5 years and they've lost. So being Josh Allen, as good as he is and as great as that is for the team, it hasn't led to playoff success. So that's where, the buck kind of stops a little for me.
What if it was being John Malkovich? Would that be better?
Well, what a movie.
Yes.
Shout out Catherine Keener, Oscar nominated in that one.
Fantastic movie.
I don't know. I'm going to be obviously watching with locked eyes tonight. I got to see a big win. I need to see a big win from my Bills, honestly.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow and the Oilers too. You won't be here on your own accord.
I'll fight for the Bills.
I'm going to cancel my doctor's appointment.
No, you can't. I won't let you.
It's kind of important that you go to the doctor.
You have to go to the doctor. What is it? A checkup, or are you adding? Is it to do with your hair? What's going on?
No, I wish it was to do with my hair. I'm going for something specific. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys in their old age need to get physicals, Ted.
I understand that. I have to get
especially when they're at Jack Roslovic number. Jersey number.
Listen, I could be any age. We're still not sure.
What is Jack Roslovic's number now that I think of it? Is it 28?
I think something like
28.
that. Yeah.
It's anywhere from 26 to 29.
Well, I think
for sure.
I think we've got it covered now. Fellas, the Oilers need to add some legit NHLers in the bottom six, preferably big and mobile. Some can be paid for a 5 to 7. Same can be said for a 5 to 7 D-man. Could be done on the cheap. No. This is a time where NHL teams don't trade. And when they do trade, you have to pay a premium. Everybody's like, oh, you can go get a goalie. Okay. Because they could have gotten a goalie when DiPietro was getting sent down, when Nico Dawes was getting sent down. But that's no longer the issue. The Boston Bruins have the Boston Bruins have DiPietro in the minors. Why would they give him up? They can recall him if there's an injury. That's what they wanted when they put him on waivers. The time to claim him was when he was on waivers. Oh, somebody's at the front door.
Beck, you got that?
2 years in, and I finally figured it out. I've cracked the code. Buffalo not that good on offense. I was just talking about Allen. Did I not talk about, did I put him on waivers too? Buffalo, they're a great, they have a quarterback who will run through a brick wall and a brick outhouse.
Yeah, and listen, Buffalo, I mean, listen, 292 points through 10 games, 29.2.
That's good.
That's good, man. You should be able to win a lot of games when you're scoring 29 points a night in the NFL. Their point differential. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look. I want to see how many teams have more points than them in the AFC. And I believe, yes, the only team with more points through 10 games in the AFC is the Indianapolis Colts. That makes sense.
Right.
And the Pats actually have the same, and they've played a game less.
Right.
No, a game more. Sorry.
Yeah, I knew that they had spent a lot of time on the field in New England.
Yeah.
Okay, couple of things. Eric Erlinson is going to join us next, and we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are the foes for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. He's from Lightning Insider. I think I didn't say that Tarasenko was on waivers, and the whole world says I did. We're going to find out the answer on that. At 1 o'clock today, we have Bagged Milk. We have Declinations, Declan CAA, and we are going to drill down more on the NFL as the day rolls along. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
More Edmonton families than ever are struggling as food prices skyrocket. The Holiday Hamper Foundation provides festive meals for 2,000 homes in need. Your donation ensures a turkey is on the table for every family. Donate today at holidayhamper.ca.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell.
Ew.
Kevin Carius brings the banter, the buzz, and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Don't look now, but I think we're being followed.
Oh, that's just my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Well, they're driving pretty close.
Because they're attached.
Save up to 15% on select tires until December 13th.
Cool.
Plus, get up to $125 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires.
Anything else?
Get $50 off a $150 service when you buy those tires.
Well, that's handy.
Yep.
And weird.
Well, I love my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Book your appointment online today. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit sports encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check it out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Who is that? Who did that song?
Benet, Australian artist. That was a pretty big song during COVID.
Fantastic voice.
Yeah.
I really like that. You have a more sophisticated musical palette than most, I will say. Certainly more than Josh.
Well, let's not act so surprised.
No, that's a good point. I didn't mean to have a lilt in my voice when I said that. That's the way it worked. Joined now by Eric Erlinson from Lightning Insider. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well, I've got stuff I need to know, and you're the guy to ask. I see that you tweeted out about the injury to Hedman and Nick Paul being activated. So run us through what's going on there in Lightning World.
Yeah, so Victor Hedman placed on IR today. He's been out since his last game was against Washington a week ago Saturday. So, he's been skating but not playing, so it was a little odd to see him put on IR today, but he's going to miss a couple more weeks. Ryan McDonough remains out. Let's see, Eric Chernak was out. He missed the game the other night on Tuesday. Looks like he's back tonight. Nick Paul will make his season debut. He had wrist surgery right before the opening of training camp, so this will be his first game back tonight. What else? We have Pontus Holmberg remains out. Max Crozier remains out. So like a lot of teams around the league, the Lightning have been dealing with some injuries to some key players here early on in the season.
It's such an interesting year out east. I mean, I obviously pay close attention to the West because that's where the Oilers play. But that division Tampa Bay's in, it has it's just mind-boggling what's happening. The teams that are at or near the top are I'm going to say I'm openly questioning whether the Detroit Red Wings and Montreal Canadiens are going to land there at the end of the year. And then it's Tampa Bay, which is a reasonable option. Ottawa's coming on, but I don't think they're going to, finish that high. Then there's Florida. Boston, I'm a little bit out on. I'm a Bruins fan going back to Orr, but I don't think they have the horses this year. And then there's Toronto way down there. So how do you feel watching this division about Tampa Bay and these surprise teams like Detroit and Montreal?
Yeah, so this division has not gone to script in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the Lightning had one win in their first 7 games. Toronto's had some struggles, and to see them down where they are, this point of the regular season, certainly the injury to Brady Tkachuk has affected the Ottawa Senators. Montreal, we knew was a good young sort of team with, the Hudsons and, the Caulfields and the guys that they have that they brought in. I don't think anybody saw them being, with this record that they have. Detroit, if they ever got goaltending, we figured might be good. Is John Gibson the answer? I don't know if we know the answer to that yet. It's been a weird start to the season in the Atlantic Division. And, the Lightning have found a way to kind of get back to their game, right? They have 9 wins in the last 12 games after that 1-4-2 start. And they still haven't gotten Braden Point going. Nikita Kucherov is not at the top of his game. Brandon Hagel is finally starting to put some pucks in the back of the net, and Anthony Cirelli's been good. Jake Gensel's been great. And they've been able to do this, again, as I mentioned, without McDonough really for almost a month now. And Hedman's missed the last week plus, and he's going to miss some more time. So they've had to deal with some injuries on their back end to key players, but they've been able to find a way to get through this. A lot of it is because of Andrei Vasilevskiy, his numbers don't look like Andrei Vasilevskiy numbers, but he's had some games where he's really been the backbone of this team. So I feel good about where the Lightning are heading, but with everybody so close, like if you look at the points in the division, you can have a bad week. You can go from first to last in the blink of an eye.
So I'm looking at, like, I'm old. So when I look at I'm looking at 5-on-5 points per 60 among forwards for the Lightning. So I'm looking for Le Cavalier and St. Louis. So, and I do see some familiar names here: Kucherov, Braden Point, but Dominic James is at 223. Jake Gensel is at 3 points per 60. Sorelli's in there too. I'm not suggesting in any way that this is the changing of the guard, but it does seem as though there's some interesting newer names that are being marbled into this roster.
First of all, how can you tell me that you're old, cite Marty St. Louis LeCavalier, and then use a stat like points per 60 at 5-on-5? I mean, that's just...
I'm an anomaly.
Yeah, Dominic James has kind of come out of nowhere a little bit, right? Like, he was drafted by Chicago in the 6th round and didn't sign with the Blackhawks this year. He actually signed in the middle of training camp, like signed with the Lightning 3 or 4 days into the start of their training camp. So really parachuted into his first NHL camp. He was at Minnesota Duluth for 4 years. So he never attended an NHL training camp, and he just continued to impress in preseason and continued to get more time in the preseason. Started the year in Syracuse, continue that in Syracuse. And he's come up here and he's injected some speed and some youth, some energy, some of that youthful energy into this lineup. You know, we'll see where the numbers are going to land. He had a really good game against Vegas where, you know, he scored his first career goal and first multi-point game. And, you know, he's another guy coming off an injury. He took a puck to the face, missed a couple of games, and is now playing with the face shield. But he's got a lot of speed. You can see a lot of hockey IQ in his game. He makes a lot of subtle plays that lead to bigger plays. You know, what coaches love, that kind of stuff. So he's a guy that's kind of come out of nowhere and found a way to put himself into this lineup. Another guy to keep an eye on is Charles-Edouard Dastu. You know, here's a guy who, you know, was a 25 goal scorer as a defenseman in the ECHL, couldn't find a job in the AHL, goes over to Europe and plays 2 years in Finland and last year in Sweden. He's been named the top defenseman in the ECHL, the top defenseman in Finland, and the top defenseman in Sweden. And now he's having an opportunity to kind of get in the NHL. And, you know, he's been one of those first pass out of the zone kind of guys. He's really good. That's a strength of his game. So again, an unknown that's kind of come out of nowhere and just injected some life because they've needed that because, as I mentioned, Braden Point's only got I'm not even sure he's in double digits in points yet, you know, where he's at with his game. So their top guys haven't been running on all cylinders. So it's been good to have these other guys to kind of help push them along.
I wonder, you know, when I look at this team and I guess when we look back at the last, I mean, I can't remember when John Cooper came in. It was like a dozen years ago. And you know, they were good almost right away. And then it took them a little while. Then they won a couple of Stanley Cups. Then they went to another final. And it's sort of been, you know, after losing in the finals in 2022, they're like a lot of teams where, you know, you're sort of transitioning and you're trying to get back to those high levels, but it's hard to do. And you've said goodbye to Stamkos. And so I'm always interested because I'll be honest with you, I've watched a lot of hockey over many, many decades. And I think the two hard things to do are to be the Buffalo Sabres, who are in a rebuild every year, and you can't get out of it. It's like a rut that you're in. But almost as hard is what Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay, maybe Tampa Bay has been doing it for longer, but, you know, are trying to do, which is to keep the fan interested, keep winning enough, but also finding young talents that are going to drive them higher. Man, it's hard.
Yeah. Well, when you don't have those high draft picks, right? I mean, look at the turnarounds in the early part of the season with both San Jose and Chicago. I mean, Connor Bedard has been a beast this year, and he's been you look at his game compared to last year, and he's night and day in terms of the way he approaches the game. Celebrini, you could see it coming, and this year he's taken it to a new level. So you can see what those high draft picks can do to a franchise. Well, when you have the success that the Lightning have had, you don't have those first rounders, and they trade those first rounders when they do have them, right? They did have one in Isaac Howard, obviously the trade to the Oilers over the summer. That was kind of their high-end prospect that they traded, him away. So they don't have that youthful high-end talent. That's where you have to find the Dominic James. And I'm not trying to compare a James to a Celebrini or a Bedard, but, you know, that type of youthful energy, you have to hope you find some diamonds in the rough a little bit. And, you know, you look at some of the moves that Julien Brisebois has made over the past handful of years. I mean, the Brandon Hagel trade, right? Everybody kind of looked at that, say, how much you gave up what for Brandon Hagel? You know, I think there were 3 first-round draft picks involved in that deal and a couple of players. But now Brandon Hagel's a 90-point player, right? So they were able to find a player like that who's not, you know, he's still in the younger part of the prime of his career. You know, so that's how you have to kind of retool in a lot of ways on the fly to try and give the Kucherovs and the Points and the Hedmans and the McDonoughs and the Vasilevskis and this core of players that they have that are now, you know, in their late 20s, early 30s, a chance to go and compete for more cups. And it's not easy. It's especially in this league. It's a young players league. We just mentioned Bedard and Celebrini and what they're doing. You look at the top scorers in the league, how many of them are under the age of 22, right? Like it's a young players league, but Kucherov is still a 100-point guy, right? Braden Point, not off to a good start. He's still a 40-goal scorer. So they still have their core still producing at elite levels. And you have to hope that, you know, the Hagels and the James and these other guys come in and kind of support those guys.
It's you as you were talking here, I thought of something that I try to make this point, and I really like your input because I believe this to be true, but I'm really interested in your thoughts on it. The Oilers get all kinds of hell for mistakes they make in trades, and that's fair, but I think you have to make risks to you know, get a Jake Gensel for a third, and sometimes it doesn't work out, and you end up with Tanner Jeannot. But that's okay because the worst thing you can do is not do anything. And what I respect about Tampa Bay, and maybe that's the conversation we're having, is that they're not satisfied. They're like Sam Pollock was every year in the summer when he was the Montreal Canadiens GM, where he doesn't want just to beat you, he wants to beat you senseless. And I feel like the Lightning are an example, along with the Panthers, but they're an example of a team that is relentless and will take risks and will make you agree to things, and then they'll walk off with the real prize because their scouting is good enough and their GM has the gumption to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing we've learned about Julien in his tenure here as the GM, because it's a great point, because you go back to the 2018-19 season when the Lightning had their 62-win year. Julien didn't do anything at the trade deadline, right? He did nothing. And they end up getting swept by Columbus, which is going to be a benchmark part of this franchise's generation, because you got to the trade deadline in 2020. What did Julien do? He traded a first-round draft pick and Nolan Foote, who was their first-round draft pick the year before, for Blake Coleman. And then he traded a first-round draft pick for Barclay Goodrow. And everybody's like, you gave up what for Barclay Goodrow? Right? Like, even here in Tampa, we were questioning, that's a lot to give up. Well, they knew what they were doing. He was bold. And, you know, one thing I think we've learned about Julien is that if they identify a player they feel can help them, he is going to be relentless in his pursuit of that player. So you'd have to think, like, can you imagine the conversations for Barclay Goodrow? Well, I'll give you a third. No, we don't want to trade him. I'll give you a second and a third. No, I don't want to trade him. How about a first? Okay, now we're thinking, right? So those are probably how those conversations go. And it was the same thing with Jeannot, right? Like, everybody wants to talk about Tanner Jeannot, and yes, they gave up a lot for him. I think David Poyle at the time even said that Jeannot was one of the most sought-after players he's ever had at the trade deadline, that he's willing to move. So it was a bidding war from teams. And again, you can think in Julian's mind, I'll give you this, this, and this. No, that's not enough. Okay, we'll do this, this, and this, and this. It didn't work out, obviously. So he, capped his heat for that trade. But nobody wants to talk about the Hagel trade or the trade to bring in Nick Paul, right, who's still here and a productive player for them, right? They gave up a first-round draft pick to get David Savard, who helped them win a cup in 2021. So you're absolutely right. I think that's one thing that fans should appreciate more in GMs like Julien Brisebois, is that they identify a situation, they feel they can help the team, and they're very bold in their pursuit of doing that.
Love it. Thanks for this. Appreciate it. Enjoy the game.
All right, thanks. Appreciate the time.
All right. Big Dan says LT needs to be suspended for deliberately trying to influence the Wild betting line. I know less than zero about betting. There is not a broadcaster in North America who knows less than I do about betting and betting odds. You know, I'll be honest with you. I go and I look at the betting odds page and it's minus 250 and my eyes begin to glaze and I begin to fall off my chair. I don't care and I don't understand any of it. These cats over here are wildly sophisticated. They should be suspended. They should pick up Tarasenko off waivers. Oddball, thank you. Oh my God. That was very good. And Josh said that our texters had no sense of humor. Well, you were wrong, Josh.
When did I ever say?
Just 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago, you were doing an interview. How could I possibly have said? How could you have possibly heard me say that to Declan?
I'm not going to let facts get in the way of what I think is a pretty good story and targets you.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I can't believe you're getting a hearing aid and you heard me whisper that to Declan. I'm blown away by this right now.
Listen, do you have any more to say about this? Is the high water mark of your Calgary Flames this season? Do you have anything you'd like to say about the team?
No, definitely the high watermark of the season was beating the Oilers in a shootout to start the season.
They could use that point back. Thank you. Oh, man. Okay. On the way, Bag Milk will run us through and down on what is going to happen with the Edmonton Oilers tonight. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about last night's game. And don't forget, we have Declanation's Declan CAA 140, and we will talk about the NFL Thursday night or all straight ahead. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 on YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors, Inc. Floors done right for homes or businesses. Visit the new showroom at 11577 149th Street. That's 11577 149th Street. Now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 to 2. Or you can visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. Edmonton Oilers, of course, in action tonight in Tampa Bay, taking on the Lightning. A 5:30 puck drop for that one with Calvin Pickard in the starter's net. Other NHL action, we'll see 4 games kicking off the action at 5, including the Leafs hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Canadiens hosting the Capitals. In the NBA, light schedule today, just 4 games. The action will get going at 5 o'clock with the Clippers and Magic. The late game tonight, we'll see the Atlanta Hawks in San Antonio taking on the Spurs. Thursday night football kicks off at 6:15 with the Bills in Houston taking on the Texans. And in the sporting world, the Guelph Storm will host the 2027 Memorial Cup, and head coach of the Maple Leafs, Craig Berube, has come out and said that the injury to goaltender Anthony Stolarz is, quote, worse than we thought. Former Blue Jay reliever Eric Swanson has retired, and Texans running back Joe Mixon is not expected to play this season. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
For Wolf GMC Buick, family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Declan's playing the tunes. He's not here tomorrow, so we're going to have a rockin' good time. He might be here in time for declinations at 1:42. We're not sure. We will have Steve Lansky on. Steve's been putting the boots to various Oilers. So we'll talk to him tomorrow about that. Oilers fans are hoping it'll be after a victory against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but I'm sure Bagged Milk was hoping that he'd be talking to me after a victory against the Washington Capitals, and that didn't happen. Mr. Milk, how are you?
Oh, frustrated, Al. You're right. I was hoping we'd be chatting today after, what was a big win. I was being positive as best I could yesterday, thinking about couple years ago when the Oilers went into Washington and got a shutout, and then eventually it kind of turned around the back half of the season. We did not get that last night. We did not get anything close.
Well, and I thought they did some good things. The breakouts were better. They scored 3 goals 5-on-5, but they allowed 5 goals 5-on-5. And they're, I do think Stuart Skinner, needed to stop a couple of those goals, but the defensive coverage was not strong. They were defending too much again. And they didn't give up that many shots, but they did give up, a lot of goals. And that's a bad thing. I take from this a little bit of positivity because they did seem to have more guys going than just 2 or 3. If you were going to look for something positive from last night entering tonight, what would it be?
Well, I think if I was going to take something positive out of last night, I think it would be that the Oilers stuck in the fight. And, the game ended at 7-4, but it really wasn't 7-4 because of the 2 empty netters. So if I'm taking a positive out of it, I think that the Oilers staying in the fight right till the end and pushing right until the end, even when the game looked, over, is a positive. I think that they were getting more shots from the slot as opposed to what we've seen historically. Like even the game against Buffalo was all to the outside. I'm sure you've seen the heat maps on that as well. So I think that ultimately just keeping at it, no matter what was going on, 16 shots in the third period. I thought they kept pushing forward even under grim circumstances. I mean, you spot the other team 2 goals in the first handful of minutes of an NHL hockey game. It's pretty tough to win. But I do appreciate the Oilers kept fighting until the final buzzer.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And I think that back-to-backs are tough. And I said earlier, why can't the Oilers play the Oakland Seals tonight? Get them together. Jerry Odrosky.
At the same point.
Right. Jerry Odrosky must be 110, but he's probably still alive. Get him out there. Joe Meloche. Let them have a go at that team. There's no real, soft bingo card on the parade of the NHL schedule for these teams. And the Oilers will be like dog tired because this is a long trip. And they're deep into it now and they've been losing. So that sucks. And I'm sure it's very difficult to, keep your wits about you in those situations. I thought Darnell Nurse had a really good game. Bouchard, not as much, his partner, but Nurse was ripping and roaring and potted a couple of goals.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of frustration to go around about Darnell Nurse over the course of the season. Our friend Jonathan Willis was putting out some pretty troubling stats about Darnell after the game against Buffalo, but I thought last night he played well. Obviously, he had the 2 goals. He had 4 shots. He played just over 21 minutes and was if I'm not mistaken, the only defenseman with a positive plus-minus after the end of the game, which, I know that's not the sexiest stat anymore and one that people really like to talk about, but it is something for a team that is bleeding goals the way they have been. And a small win for Darnell Nurse, who is, part of that prior to last night.
I watched Edmonton Oilers coaches get fired after a very short term. Brian Watson, George Burnett, really Dallas Aikens. I've watched guys who I thought would never leave, like Slats and John Muckler and even Craig McTavish. I will tell you personally, I really like Chris Knobloch's style. I think he's done a lot of good things for this team. And it's never fun to talk about, a changing of the guard anywhere and somebody losing their job. But I'm wondering because there's sort of a group of elements that can occur or situations or facts that sort of slide into place in a cascade that remind you of the past. And this situation right now with Chris Knobloch reminds me so much of Jay Woodcroft. It's in November, as it was with Woodcroft. And there's a lot of parallels here. It's not, Lincoln and Kennedy, but it does sort of set up as being very similar. Do you feel that as well?
Yeah, I think yes and no. First of all, you mentioned the parade of coaches since Craig McTavish. I did a rough count here as you were talking, and I'm pretty sure it's 10 coaches since Craig McTavish.
Wow.
But yeah, I think there are some parallels. Obviously, it's November. The team is struggling just as they were a couple of seasons ago in 2020, what would that have been, 2023 when Woody eventually got fired. Yep. The major difference, though, where I can't draw the same parallel is that when Woody got fired, all the underlying numbers that you and I like to look at, they were strong.
Yeah.
And it just felt like, there was a quarter turn that needed to change and then the team would get back on its horse and away they went. This year, though, there's a lot of those underlying numbers that you kind of look at and you go, okay, they're going to be fine. This year, they're not fine. They are way down the list on a bunch of the key metrics that we would tend to track, especially for a team this talented. So, well, I'm not one of the people that thinks, Chris Knobloch is going to get fired. I don't necessarily know that he will. It's not impossible. Like I said, we've had 10 coaches since Craig McTavish left in 2009, but I just see that there's some concerns right now. They are bleeding high danger chances. Their expected save percentage is very low based on the way the team is defending. The offense is very, very dry. A lot of the shots are coming from the outside of the ice, not in key scoring numbers. That was most evident on Monday against Buffalo when the bulk of the heat map on the shots was from the outside of the ice and on the point. So, well, I think there are some definite parallels between where Knobloch is at today and where Jay Woodcroft was a couple of years ago. There is a troubling difference, and the underlying numbers that should correct themselves with a little bit of luck, they just aren't there this year.
Bag Milk, our guest from Oilers Nation on Sports 1440 and the Lowdown with Lowetide. The Oilers lost last night to Washington. They play Tampa Bay tonight. And I always am amazed that during the Connor McDavid era that we have these moments, which should never happen. But I'm also like, I think that Corey Perry, I'll use Corey Perry as an example. He was a player who could play 7 minutes a night and still impress you, or 9 minutes a night and still impress you. But Jeff Skinner wasn't. And I think that a guy like Mangiapane, who I thought had a pretty good game last night, a guy like Frederick, who I also thought had a pretty good game last night. They're having to adjust and make an impact in very few minutes because no matter what the coach says, chances are that it's going to be 40 minutes or so at 5-on-5 that Draisaitl or McDavid are on the ice. So there's not that much left for the third and fourth line. In your opinion, is there anybody who we would consider to be third or fourth line Oilers that has done enough for you to say that player has established themselves as a must play every night on the third or fourth line?
Ooh, tough one. I think there's a couple of guys who you'd probably single out as underperforming. I thought Trent Frederick, I agree. He played probably better than we've seen last night against Washington, but he's a guy that needs to pick it up. Andrew Mangiapane, I've been surprised with how quiet or, close to winning the green jacket he's been already this season. So those are two guys that need to play better. No doubt about it. If we're looking at the line combos from last night, Zach Hyman is going to be fine. He's always an engine. He's an emotional leader. He's all those things he's going to be. I think Adam Henrique has done well. I don't think plays are dying on the Adam Henrique stick. He's maybe not getting the offense we'd like to see from him, but I think he's playing mostly well. I'd prefer if he was probably on the wing as opposed to playing down the middle, just because, maybe the boots aren't quite what they used to be. But it's a very short list of guys who you kind of give a passing grade to right now. So looking at the line combos from last night ahead of tonight's game in Tampa Bay, Zach Hyman and Adam Henrique are really the only bottom sixers I'm giving. And that's just last night's lines. Obviously, Zach Hyman can slide up, but those are the only two that I'm kind of giving a passing grade.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would also, my feeling is Lazar has played well in spots. He just hasn't played much. But I concur with your estimate there. I wanted to ask about, because at the end of the day, even though I genuinely enjoy talking to you, and I enjoy reading you, and I think well of you, and I hope nothing but good things for you and your family. Frank is the guy I worry about in times like these, because I think you can handle yourself. You're an adult. You know what's going on. You know it's only sports. But I worry about Frank. I believe he's above 500 in his predictions, but I know he doesn't like. I've talked to Frank. I know he doesn't like to predict losses for the Oilers. So how is he hanging in?
Well, unfortunately, you are right. He doesn't like to predict losses for the Oilers, but he is a dog and a man who likes to tell the truth, even if it hurts. And you are correct. Last night, he won again, picking the Washington Capitals. He picked the Buffalo Sabres on Monday. He is now 12-10 on the season. So he is above 500, but that doesn't mean he's happy about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give us the hard truths. He wants to pick the Oilers every single night. He wants to watch them go out there and win. And he wants us all to enjoy it. But right now, he's having to give us all a dose of medicine that maybe we don't want to see or hear from him. But the truth is important. He's a professional, and he's going to go out there and do his job no matter what the result is.
What I hear you saying is that Frank has a better record than the Oilers.
He does indeed. Yeah, he has 12 wins on the season. The Oilers, unfortunately, do not.
Do you sometimes feel like you? I always feel like I can talk to you because you've done what I've done for the last 15 or whatever number of years, where we've written about the Edmonton Oilers, good, bad, or indifferent, rain, hail, sleet, and snow. I always feel like it's Groundhog Day when I get back here, where they're everybody's miserable. Fire the coach, fire the goalie into the sun. I feel like, can we just spend 5 years not being here? I would like that.
I love that. And it's funny you bring up Groundhog Day. I literally had that as the title of one of my articles at OilersNation.com a couple of days ago because, every game kind of feels the same. The Oilers come out flat and maybe they give up a goal or two and then they make a big push. And maybe they come up with a comeback, and like last night, maybe it comes up a little bit short, but it very much feels like we're waking up every day to Sonny and Cher, just like the theory was during Groundhog Day. So it feels exactly like that. And I wish that we didn't have to go through the early season lulls before we can see what this team actually can do. But unfortunately, Al, our job is to sit here and tell the truth. And right now, the truth is not so bright. There's a lot of room for improvement all over the roster.
Will you do me a favor? Have a great day, a great evening, and just a little extra snack for Frank.
Listen, my guy is a spoiled dog. And just because I don't like the results he's giving me in Frank's picks, he is picking winners. So I will be sure to give him an extra treat just for you, Al.
You're a man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you go. Bag milk from Oilers Nation. And in case you didn't know, we weren't talking about Frank Saravalli. We were talking about Frank the dog. Although I have patted both of their heads. It's a very similar feeling. You got the feeling with both of them that there were lucid moments. 116. Did Declan leave yet, or is he staying for the rest of this show?
It doesn't look like Declan's here anymore. Looks like it's just you and me.
Yeah. I got to check now after every time I, finish an interview just to make sure I know what the hell's going on the next segment, because I don't know how many people I've got here.
Well, you didn't close your eyes during that segment, so you would have seen him walk by.
I don't know. I think he might have an escape hatch back there. You guys
I will neither confirm nor deny
do you know
what's sitting below my feet.
You guys can and it has happened to me where the producer has just gotten up and left, and then you have to talk until they get back. And that's no fun at all.
What a tragedy for you. Yeah. I have the Tarasenko clip if we're still on that.
Oh, yeah, please do. Yeah.
We want it?
Yeah.
Yes.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. The Wild have placed Vladimir Tarasenko on waivers. You clipped that
Yeah, he
You
did
got
clip it for
Vladimir
real.
Tarasenko,
But that's because
and
that
then
was
there's
a real
pause,
thing.
and then you got in the on waivers that I did use.
No,
on the
no.
Tessier.
Hold on, wait. I'll play it. Let me play it back from the full hour here. Hold on, ready?
A clear and not even a brilliant clutch. Boy, Pickard needs a good game. He really does. The Wild have placed Vladimir Tarasenko on waivers. The Avalanche has called Tristan. Clearly, it's clipped.
No,
what are you talking about?
I thought better of you. I can't believe that you do that.
You take those little pauses, pregnant pauses, all the time.
Never done that in my life, in my whole career. Don't know what you're talking about. Well, this is a mystery. I guess we'll just have to say I got it right.
I refuse to admit that you got this right.
Josh, pull.
I'm watching.
Come back at 6:01. Pull the hour yourself and listen.
I'm not. Look, clearly I'm wrong, but I'm not going to admit it. You know, that's
stubborn
That's
boy.
what old people do.
I kind of like that stance, honestly.
Yeah, we just roll on, baby. It's like I one day when we're having a few beers, I will tell you that Brad Pitt can act, but not here. All right, it's
Brad Pitt can act. He just said it. Clip that. Clip that.
It's 118 Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter watches the big game. Go deep! What you watching, Mr. Rooter? The Plumbing Olympics. Frankie Drain Dragon Sanchez is attempting to break the world record in the 100-meter snake. Watch! Wow! Did you see that? He snaked out a 50-pound clog. And in the middle of that wad, a gold medal. What theater?
Yeah, that's very cool, Mr. Rooter.
For a plumber who's good as gold, call Mr. Rooter.
More fruit?
Check.
Satisfying texture?
Check.
3 amazing new recipes?
Check, check, check.
Let Booster Juice bowl you over with something completely different. 3 new acai bowls, loaded with delicious toppings including bee pollen, cacao nibs, and shredded coconut. Piled high on top of a refreshing blend of authentic acai, straight from Brazil. Spoon?
Check.
Booster Juice, Canada's original juice and acai bowl bar.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and sadly, some people think orthotics are just glorified shoe cushions. But I've seen a runner drop 8 minutes off her marathon, a grandmother ditch her painkillers, and a 12-year-old nail her long jump, all thanks to custom foot orthotics. So if your feet are screaming for help, flat, high, or funky, that pain's heading to your knees, hips, even your lower back, our professionals will assess you and, if indicated, custom fabricate a pair of orthotics made just for you. Happy feet make a happy person. Feet shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Sports 1440 is proud to support the Camrose Kinsman Radio Auction, Friday, November 28th from 6 p.m. to midnight on our sister station, New Country 98.1. All proceeds go to the Kinsman Club of Camrose to serve the community's greatest needs. Find out how to donate at sports1440.ca.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
3 locations, endless sports action. Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge. Sully's is the place to catch every game this fall. With tons of TVs, there's never a bad seat in the house. Check out the game night food and drink features and bring your friends for all the fun with Oilers watch parties all season long. Sully's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Rock and roll with Declan Krueger. Wow, nice stuff. Jay said, it's simple. We lose Kane, Perry, and Brown. Replaced with Mangiapane, guy from Europe, can't remember. The only one that has done anything is Roslovic, and we didn't get him until 7-8 games into the year. That's a lot of jam we lost. All three of those guys can make whatever line they are on better. Just a reminder that Evander Kane did not play during the regular season a year ago.
I also don't know, with all respect to Connor Brown, I don't know if Connor Brown is a guy who instantly makes his line better.
But
he plays a role, but
no, but he's a solid two-way guy. But I also think that missing Hyman was a bigger, had a bigger impact on this team this year. They just got him for a couple of games ago. So I agree with you. I think that Brown was a good player, but a role player, right? A complementary piece. Great idea, Josh. Loop that clip of Lowetide saying Brad Pitt can act with a snappy EDM backing track and let it play. We already done it?
I'm actually doing that right now. So because we're streaming on Twitch, there's a button that you can say clip that, and it'll go back 26 seconds and grab the whole thing from when you press the button.
Isn't Twitch the one where you swipe left or right?
No, that's Tinder.
Okay. All right.
This is just a streaming service, but I hit the clip that button right after we went to break. So I have a nice whole thing of you saying Brad Pitt can act.
And
I fully intend on tweeting you.
One night a couple of years ago, I went home and I said to my kids, what's Tinder? And they go, Dad, don't go on.
Good kids.
That's all I have no idea what it is, but I know that my children have told me not to go on there. And I'm sure Karen would say that. I think Janmark has helped the fourth line. Seemed to drag Lazar and Philp up with him a little bit. Also missing Nuge, who helps defensively. Any idea what the injury is or prognosis from Dave? Well, I'm going to do my little funny act, which isn't funny at all, but it's true, about the Edmonton Oilers. When a player is hurt, the Edmonton Oilers, usually Chris Knobloch, will say post-game, I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody, but we'll let you know. Next day, Nuge is day-to-day. Next day, Nuge is day-to-day. And that goes for about 12 days. And then there's a week to week. And then after week to week, there's like, haven't got an update in a while. And then 4 months pass by, and then he plays again. The Oilers are, I would say, deliberately vague about injuries. And that's just the way it is, And so I actually don't report on injuries anymore, or at least I report on the injuries, but I don't report on the Oilers organization telling you how long it's going to be, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't hold water. It isn't me giving you information that has value. And I fully understand that most of this show is me giving you information that doesn't have any value. I understand that. But I would rather try to entertain than irritate you. Believe it or not. Perry is better than Roslovic. Well, Corey Perry's a great player, but Corey Perry was limited. He was not a great defensive player because he couldn't get back. And Roslovic isn't a great player, but he can skate, and just being a body on a 2-on-2 instead of 2-on-1 has a benefit. Although Ivan Cornway never helped. Buffalo pulled up rookies because of injuries and spanked us purely via intensity. But the Oilers can't call up because they're rookies. Well, they've got a couple of guys injured. Philp and Lazar are injured short term, and Nuge is injured too. But when they get back from I have an article coming up in The Athletic tomorrow about this. When they come up from the road trip, when they come back, if those cats can't play, then we might see a recall. But you have to be aware of the cap and all of those things. And by the way, Regula played like 1:13 or something last night. He was in the doghouse or hurt, one of the two. Maybe we'll get an update on that today.
I think we can all safely assume it was the doghouse.
Well, I mean, then why were other people put in the doghouse when they did bad things?
I mean, they had to field an 18-man roster. 11-7 was the way to do that.
Well, they did have 6 defensemen without Regula, so they can do that. Lowetide, why aren't we starting Skinner? Let's get him in there. Get his head cleared. Let's go, Grazer. Well, I think back-to-backs are the one area where you are pretty much going to use your backup, right? I mean, it's rare that like a goalie of Skinner's caliber would start both games in a row.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Pickard is like fighting for his NHL life right now, just so you know. Like he as mad as you are at Stuart Skinner, Calvin Pickard has been like, there's Stuart Skinner, there's 6 feet of whatever was in Shawshank Redemption, and then there's what Calvin Pickard's doing. And I like Calvin Pickard, but he has not played well. And he's at an age where NHL teams are not going to be patient on that. I would hazard a guess that if Connor Ingram were closer to ready, that might have already happened. Yeah, I don't honestly know why the Oilers bothered to say who's injured and for how long, because it's not accurate, you know. It's like a weather forecast, only worse. When are we going to get a big snow? We're going to get a big snow soon?
Maybe Monday.
Okay. Got to be prepared for the big. Are you prepared for the big snow? You've got your snow tires on, or you
I have
and
all
I
seasons.
Yeah, you and I both do all seasons, and you can drive, right? Like I tell people I can drive in all seasons, and they go, "No, you can't."
I can drive in all seasons.
Yeah, I could. It's been years since I had an accident, and it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, sure, pal.
Look, it was the radio station's fault for playing Smoke on the Water, and I was going.
So
a
you
little
close
fast.
your eyes. Oh,
I was going a little fast. No, I haven't been in an accident. In last accident I was in, my father-in-law backed up and hit a big pole at the IKEA where you put the furniture in the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, they both passed away since, but he said, "Don't you tell your mother-in-law about that." I said, okay, Dad. It was our secret. As I recall, he bought me a great big bottle of Crown Royal in order for me to keep my mouth
He bought your
shut.
silence.
That was a great man. All right. 1:31. I was going to take a break, but we can't yet. Do you have that thing done yet, or are you slow?
It's all done.
Can we hear it?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I can. It's not to EDM music. It's literally just a clip of you saying,
"Well,
Brad Pitt can act."
Can we hear it?
Second. Yeah, Deck. I'm going to drop this in the logs. Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be very anticlimactic.
Okay.
Oh yeah, super anticlimactic.
I thought there was music. Go ahead, play it.
No
I don't have it
music yet. Maybe that's what I'll do today after I see my sister.
Well, don't like spend some time with your family. This isn't important. So we're not going to hear it.
It's in the logs right now. You got to refresh.
It's processing.
No, it's literally in there. You got to refresh.
There it is.
Okay. Is it coming soon? It can act. Brad Pitt can act. Yeah, you're right. It was disappointing.
Wait, what? Yeah, super
Brad Pitt can
disappointing.
act.
Just wait till I put that on an infinite loop.
Brad Pitt can act.
Exactly 1 minute.
What if you put the
Brad Pitt
bass
can
line
act.
from Under Pressure by Bowie and Queen? Bum, 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 bum. Brad Pitt can act. Bum, 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 bum. Brad Pitt can act.
I'll do a crazy edit of it, just like going in and out of your face, being like Brad Pitt can act. I'll auto tune it. I'll learn how to auto tune the whole thing.
Oh yeah, like Cher.
Exactly.
You'll believe in love. Are you a Cher fan?
No.
Okay. I can't wait to see McDavid win a cup with anyone but the Oilers. Cates can keep his greedy hands off of Lord Stanley from Dr. Dick Richards. Dr. Dick Richards seems to be upset at things.
Breaking news, water is wet.
Yeah. By the way, Daryl Cates is spent to the cap, I think, every year. And that's what Oiler fans wanted the owner to do. And he was the first one around the cap, but certainly the AIG and Peter Pocklington was selling guys. So you can imagine in terms of and look, if you want to be critical of the negotiation over the arena and all of those things, fill your hat. We can talk about that all again. But spending to the cap was a priority, and he has done it. And he spent a lot of money on buyouts and a lot of money on coaches being paid not to coach. So whatever you want to say about Daryl Cates, he has not only expressed how much of a fan of the team he is by buying it, he's also paid to the cap. And you got to respect that. That was easily the worst attempt at humming the under pressure bass line I've ever heard from Husks. Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Being that I'm not a bass player. Somebody stole that clip and then they had to pay them money. Who was that?
Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. We said that in unison.
We must be two peas in a...
Brad Pitt. All right, 134. Coming up, it's Declination CAA. I'm going to try to get some football stuff in there. Are we okay with that? I'm talking about NFL football. Can we talk about the Bills a little bit after you're done?
I mean, the thing is, like, it's your show, so do whatever you want. But like, I won't. You like 20 minutes, I won't be done. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to stop me.
Well, no, if you've got enough material, then I won't get in your way.
Well, it's your show. Like, it's
people,
always. I always
like to hear this, and I know you love to do it.
You should lead off with your G5 ranking.
This one's a little bit more of a vanity trip than the rest. But whatever you want to do.
So what are we talking about on this Declination CAA?
Well, listen, obviously I'm going to be going over my top 12 with my group of 5 team included. I also want to talk about, possible. I want to talk about some possible scheduling implications when you look at how the rankings are laid out right now, and some maybe possible precedents set last year by the committee that may or may not come to fruition this year.
If I asked you how many California teams were going to bowl games, would you know? Could you guess?
Yeah, I mean, like USC will go. There's still a few that are left to be decided. I don't know, probably like 8.
Wow,
no,
nice.
5.
Okay,
I don't know.
So the Pac-10 will be well represented, even though it doesn't exist.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, 135 Declinations next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, and you.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Across the province, Albertans are taking their shot on Play Alberta. With casino winners every hour, jackpots worth millions, and revenue that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up. Right now, our listeners can score a $50 free bet when they make a minimum $50 deposit with code Krueger50. That's code Krueger50 for a $50 free bet. Start playing with your game sense today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner.
Oh, seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar. There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit greatcanadiansolar.com and call today to get started.
Hand delivering a hamper to a family in need fills everyone's hearts with joy. Be part of the Holiday Hamper program. Adopt a local family and see the difference your groceries and gifts make firsthand. Sign up today at holidayhamper.ca.
Jason Krueger isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder with over $3 million raised for local charities. And his Krueger Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Krueger weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
The Hockey Super League is proud to launch its 9th season, delivering independent, borderless hockey. This year, over 125 teams will compete across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and for the first time ever, Colorado, USA, which showcase style action, cross-province rivalries, and a strong commitment to player development. The HSL is the premier destination for families seeking balance and athletes chasing the next level. The Hockey Super League. Hockey without limits. For athletes born in 2013 to 2018, visit hockeysuperleague.com to learn more.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Don't look now, but I think we're being followed.
Oh, that's just my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Well, they're driving pretty close.
Because they're attached.
Save up to 15% on select tires until December 13th.
Cool.
Plus, get up to $125 off a set of 4 Goodyear tires.
Anything else?
Get $50 off a $150 service when you buy those tires.
Well, that's handy.
Yep.
And weird.
Well, I love my Fountain Tire sidecar.
Book your appointment online today. Restrictions apply. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Did you know that song, Pump It Up by Elvis Costello, got him banned from Saturday Night Live? He and the attraction started a different song, stopped, and then went into Pump It Up, which had been agreed he would not play. And Lorne Michaels banned him and several hundred other artists over the years. Hello, Sinead O'Connor, from ever appearing. Okay. It is time for Declinations. Declan's here today for Declinations, which works out really well. Yesterday it was Elvis and left the building. It's brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth Double E football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Declan Krueger.
Okay. Once again, I can't shout out Josh enough for these graphics. They really make the segment. They really add so much to it. They're incredibly well done.
And none of us could get close to this.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you could.
He's giving us credit. Number one, I got Ohio State. We're not breaking any news here. Ohio State's the best team in the country. That Michigan game at the end of the season is going to be interesting. They're number one. Easy as pie. Number two, Indiana, again, a very clear-cut number two team. That game against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, which it's obviously gearing up to be unless some crazy fall-off happens between the two, is going to be fireworks. I've been thinking about this a lot. I think the national championship game might be a rematch of the Big Ten championship game between these two, just the way they're playing. Like, I know Indiana was in tough against Penn State. but I look at these two teams. Like I look at Bama just lost again. Georgia's actually playing really good. I'll talk about them in a second. Texas A&M. I mean, dogfight against South Carolina. They were down 30-3 at half. Like I just don't see any two teams that have separated themselves from the pack as much as Ohio State and Indiana have this year. They're obviously number 2. Number 3, still have Texas A&M. They were down 30-3 versus a 3-win South Carolina team at halftime. They came back and won the game 31-30. Unbelievable resolve from that team. Unbelievable job by Mike Elko at halftime to get them to come out there and just right the ship and win that game. But like, I didn't ding them in terms of spot, but you can't really be down to 30-3 against South Carolina at halftime and then kind of have us all think, yeah, this is a team that can win the Natty. And I know the SEC is tough and deep, and I was very high on South Carolina to start the season, but that's just not a place you want to be at any point in the season. Number 4, I believe I had, I don't have my list in front of me, so I am waiting. There we go. Okay, I did have Oregon number 4. Oregon number 4, Georgia number 4 in the committee's ranking. Oregon, I just think, like at some point when records are the same or similar, and I think Georgia has a better resume than Oregon, but when records are the same, I think you have to weigh a lot on the eye test. And quite frankly, I like Georgia a lot as well. But when I look at the other one-loss teams like Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, I like Oregon to win those matchups. Their only loss in the country was to number 2, Indiana. They beat Iowa on the road, which is a tough game. They obviously beat Penn State when Penn State was number 2. If you don't want to give them that much credit for that win anymore, I get it based on what Penn State's done this season. But like I said, I think they beat a lot of these teams. I have number 4. Number 5, I think I had Georgia. Yeah, I had Georgia. The committee had Texas Tech. I'm really high on Texas Tech. But Georgia, they're playing great football right now. I think we are down to a finite list of teams that can win the national championship, and I do think Georgia is one of them. At number 6, I had Texas Tech. I also think Texas Tech can win the national championship. Their defense is incredible. They have a Heisman candidate and Jacob Rodriguez. Their only game they lost was to a top 25 team on the road with their backup quarterback. Texas Tech, I think, can surprise some people in the playoff. And even if they lose that Big 12 championship game and like a rematch to BYU, I don't see them losing that game. But even if they do, I think they'd still be in. I think they can give a lot of teams problems. At number 7, I had Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I like Ole Miss a lot. Ole Miss is very cool. They're just not as good as the teams above them. Like sometimes that's what it is in college football.
There's a tier, right? And
yeah. Like sometimes you just don't get the recruits. Sometimes you just don't have, the NIL resources. Sometimes you're just a step below. And Ole Miss has been very good. They've been very impressive this season in terms of their record. They've had some close games with Washington State mainly that shouldn't have been close. Florida as well this past weekend, if you want to throw them in there. I know Florida beat Texas. They're good. They're just not as good as some of the other teams. I still have number 7. Number 8, I had BYU. Yeah, I give BYU a lot of credit. They've won every game they've played. That Utah win has aged very well. I think Utah is one of the top 15 teams in the country. But the best team they played by far was Texas Tech, and they didn't look like they belonged on the same field as them. I'm still going to respect their record. I have them at number 8. Number 9, I had Oklahoma. The first 2-loss team to make an appearance. Quite simply, this comes down to them beating Bama this past weekend. Like they went into Tuscaloosa. They beat Alabama. Well. I know they had the Texas loss, the other loss on a neutral field. The other loss was to Ole Miss. Listen, at some point you got to start nitpicking, and quite frankly, we've had this debate. It's better to lose early than to lose late. Alabama just lost late, so we're going to drop them down a little bit. Oklahoma just won late, and it was that head-to-head versus Bama, so we're going to have them at number 9. Number 10, I have Bama right there. I mean, pretty self-explanatory right there behind Oklahoma. At number 11, I have Miami, and I'll couple this with my number 12 team. For the first time since, I think, week 1 or week 0, I have Notre Dame back in the top 12. And I was thinking...
As it should be.
I was thinking about... And the reason I have Miami over Notre Dame is obviously Miami, won the head-to-head.
And you should.
Yeah. But the reason I have Notre Dame in there ahead of schools like Utah, ahead of schools like Vandy, ahead of schools like USC... Well, they beat USC. But quite frankly, I hate to say this because this is an SEC argument. If they play those teams, they're going to win. You know what I mean? Like, is the college football about finding the top 12 teams in the country? Okay. in that case, and actually, funny enough, Notre Dame would be the first team out with this iteration of the rankings. But if that's what it's about, Notre Dame deserves to be number 12. They're playing like a top 12 team. They're playing like a top 10 team. I can't put them ahead of Miami because of the head-to-head, so they come in at number 12. My group of 5 team, James Madison. The only team to beat them this year was Louisville. Louisville was ranked as recently as last week. They're 7-3 right now. Tulane is who the committee has in there. Tulane lost 45-10 versus Ole Miss, so that's not great. They also lost to UTSA by 20. Now, this is going to get a little bit niche. People aren't really going to probably know this, but Tulane is in the American Conference, which is kind of thought of as the premier group of 5 conference, them in the Mountain West when the Mountain West is rolling. JMU's in the Sun Belt, and the Sun Belt is incredibly weak this year. I give you that. But there's kind of a bias that more often than not, it's going, barring some ridiculous unbeaten season, it's going to be an American team or a Mountain West team in the playoff. I think this is group of 5 bias against JMU. I think resume wise, they are so heads and tails better than Tulane. I think if they played Tulane, they would beat Tulane by 14 points. Committee doesn't quite view it that way, but I will say the AP does. The AP had JMU as the highest ranked group of 5 team. First right thing they've done all year. That's my top 12.
Okay. May I ask you a question, or you have more to go?
Yeah, what's the question?
Washington State, Oregon.
Yep.
Are they going anywhere?
Like Washington State and Oregon State, you mean?
No, Washington Huskies.
Yeah.
Washington State Cougars.
Yep.
Oregon, your team.
Yep.
Where do you see them going, if anywhere, bowl-wise?
Well, Oregon's going to be in the playoffs if they win this week against USC. I mean, they'll still have to win their last game of the season, but they'll be there. Washington's actually played pretty decent this season. They'll get a decent quality matchup in a bowl game. Oregon State has been probably the worst Power 4 team this year. Well, I mean, they're not technically, like, they're in the Pac-12, which is just 2 teams. They've been dreadful. And then Washington State has been pretty bad as well. I don't even know. I don't think Washington State's going to be bowl eligible this year.
What about Arizona?
I mean, Arizona State, they're playing well. They found themselves into the top 25. Arizona is nothing to write home about. Let me pull up Arizona's record really quickly.
I'm just asking because these are the teams that I pay attention to. You know, like I watched Arkansas for years and Nebraska for years, and I don't hear them anymore. And I'm assuming that they don't recruit well, or they've got a pumbly-dumbly coach. But those used to be pretty damn good teams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Like, those are teams that go through ebbs and flows.
Right. Like,
they're not going to be staples at the top.
Like Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin goes through ebbs and flows. It's been bad for them lately. Yeah. Like Luke Fickell, that was a home run hire at the time, has not worked out. Yeah, those are schools, like, you're not going to see them consistently at the top, but they're going to have their day in the sun there. You're not going to see them consistently at the bottom, but they're going to have their time there too. They're just like the teams you just listed, with the exception of Oregon now under Dan Lanning. Those are teams, like the definition of teams who go through ebbs and flows in college football.
Right, yeah. I love this. I just have to get you to answer this because I love it. Eric, does this guy say James Madison is a top 12 team?
So no, I do not have James Madison in the top 12. I have them as my group of 5 team. So how the playoff works is you have to have the 5 highest ranked conference champions. So it doesn't actually have to be the 4 power conference champions and then a group of 5 team. Technically, it could be all group of 5 teams, but for simplicity's sake, and what it is going to be in 99.999% of the time, it's going to be 4 power 4 champions. But then by the letter of the law, the rule is there has to be at least one group of 5 champion in there, because it's the 5 highest ranked conference champions. So that has to go to somebody. It has to go to somebody. The options right now: North Texas, Tulane, JMU. I think those are the 3 teams who have a real argument. The committee went with Tulane. Tulane's coach said, there must be a lot of bad football right now if we're ranked in the top 25. So no, by the letter of the law, I do not have JMU ranked as a top 12 team at all. I have them somewhere 20 to 25. They're playing great football. But there has to be a group of 5 team in the playoff. Has to be. So that's what it comes down to.
So it's sort of like when the CFL was garbage in the East, but you still made sure that even with the crossover, there'd be a good representation in the playoffs from a CFL East team.
Yeah, man. Oh, there were so many years when it was just two East teams who were both like 8 and 10, and the fourth place West team was like 11 and 7.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
5-12-1. I think Ottawa made the Grey Cup in '81, and they almost, like, in the first half they were ahead of the Eskimos, and then the Eskimos just kind of
that's awesome
woke up. And man, I gotta say, I love the CFL. I miss it already. I can't wait for the draft. I can't wait to just hear the excitement. And I think this coming year for the Elks is going to be real. Honestly, they if you think about where they came from the beginning of the year, and they had trouble, but they built and they didn't throw it all away. They were signing guys, lickety split, coaching staff coming back. Love it. And I really hope that they make the postseason next year. And I think that there's a new dawn, there's a new day coming for Edmonton Elks fans. That was my Nina Simone impersonation. You may not have heard it, but it was there. Oilers, maybe not fair, but it's easier to change the coach than the team. Coach keeps reshuffling the deck, using the same strategies, and to date is getting the same result. I think overdependence on 97 and 29 is the biggest problem. Performance of 2 and D-core not far behind. Well, the problem is, if you had played Matt Savoy and Ike Howard on the second and, say, third line for 20 games, you'd have a much better idea of what they are. But that hasn't happened. And that's the problem. You got to play them in October, November, December, January, February, March, and then come April, you know what you have. You still might not use it, but at least you know what they are. And when you're doing this, you don't really have any idea. And you're just waiting for the deadline. And I would not be surprised if one of those two characters, Matt Savoy and Ike Howard, was traded at the deadline. The Oilers have to add a lot. They're going to have to give up something. We need more Hi, My Name Is during the week. Love that segment. Is that the first person who's actually texted in they loved it?
It might be.
I love the segment, but it's a pain in the ass for Declan, and I get mad at him when he goes like, Colton Sissons. So I don't think he likes it because, I'm a grumpy old man, and, so you don't increase the price of pepper, and you don't have segments where grumpy old people get grumpy. I think that's why it's only once a week. Is that fair, Declan?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, okay. Jason Krueger on the way. Please enjoy your day. We're back tomorrow.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Low Cook Quality Market. Your fridge just got an upgrade. Over 200 chef-prepared gourmet meals waiting at Low Cook Quality Market. Shop local at loca.ca. NHL schedule. We'll see the Edmonton Oilers in action tonight in Tampa Bay. 5:30 puck drop, and it will be Calvin Pickard in the starters net. Other NHL action, we'll see the Blue Jackets and Leafs at 5, and the Caps and Canadiens at the same time. The late game, we'll see the LA Kings in San Jose taking on the Sharks at 8. In the NBA, 4 games. The Clippers in Orlando to tip off the action at 5. Sacramento and Memphis and Philly and Milwaukee at 6. Late game, we'll see Atlanta in San Antonio to take on the Spurs. Thursday night football in the NFL. Week 12 sees the Bills in Houston to take on the Texans. And some news for the Edmonton Elks is they have extended national defensive lineman Robbie Smith and American defensive lineman Jordan Williams. That's going to do it for us here on the Lowdown with Lowetide on behalf of Josh Fenwick and Lowetide. This has been Declan Krueger with your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and shine.